The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror did not end with the last confirmed murders of 1969. Following the Presidio Heights attack, the elusive killer continued to haunt Northern California, leaving a trail of fear, letters, and ciphers that would puzzle authorities for decades. Even as communities adjusted to the pervasive anxiety he created, the Zodiac's ability to manipulate media, law enforcement, and public perception elevated him from a local murderer to a figure of national notoriety. One of the most defining characteristics of the Zodiac was his communication with the press. He sent letters to newspapers like the San Francisco Chronicle, the Vallejo, Times-Herald, and the San Francisco Examiner, each meticulously crafted to provoke panic, assert his presence, and boast of further killings. Among these communications, some included intricate ciphers that challenged both professional and amateur cryptographers. One such code, the 340-character cipher, arrived in November 1969 and remained unsolved for decades, symbolizing the enigmatic and intelligent nature of the Zodiac. Every letter amplified his legend, making the public feel simultaneously intrigued and terrified. They confirmed victims David Faraday, Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin, Cecilia Ann Shepard, and Paul Stein had become names synonymous with fear and tragedy. Survivors Michael Mageau and Brian Hartnell provided invaluable accounts of the attacks, describing the Zodiac's methods, appearance, and chilling composure. These narratives were critical, offering investigators key insights into the identity and modus operandi of a killer who thrived on evasion. The Zodiac's meticulous planning, adaptability, and unpredictability made him extraordinarily difficult to apprehend. In 1970, law enforcement focused on piecing together patterns from the attacks, while the early murders at Lake Herman Road and Lake Beressa demonstrated a preference for isolated locations and young couples. The urban assault on Paul Stein in San Francisco revealed a calculated shift. This demonstrated that the Zodiac could operate in multiple environments, showcasing both audacity and strategic thinking. His knowledge of geography, timing, and psychology allowed him to evade capture, heightening public fear and frustration among police departments. The Zodiac's letters often contained taunts, threats, and demands for publication. In one infamous communication, he explicitly demanded that specific ciphers be published on the front page of newspapers, ensuring that his notoriety would reach millions. The content of these letters demonstrated a mastery of psychological manipulation, as the Zodiac exploited both human curiosity and law enforcement's desire to stop him. The ciphers, some of which included messages referencing additional murders, created layers of uncertainty, leaving the public to question how many victims there truly were. While the confirmed victims' stories were well documented, there remained numerous alleged and potential victims who may have fallen prey to the Zodiac. His claims of having killed 37 people, though unverified, reinforced his mythos and sowed widespread panic. Communities feared traveling alone, couples avoided remote areas, and parents cautioned children about strangers and darkness. The Zodiac's terror extended beyond physical attacks, creating a climate where fear itself became a weapon. Psychologically, the Zodiac's impact was profound. By targeting both isolated rural areas and urban centers, he demonstrated a capacity to exploit vulnerabilities everywhere. His careful selection of victims, often young couples, induced fear in a particularly intimate and relatable setting. This tactic magnified the emotional impact of his crimes, as anyone could imagine themselves in similar circumstances. Survivors like Michael Mageau provided critical testimony, describing the assailant's demeanor, the use of a firearm, and his eerie composure during attacks. These details humanized the terror, grounding the mythos of the Zodiac in real human suffering. The Zodiac's methods were not limited to physical attacks. His communication strategy relied heavily on the press and public curiosity. By sending letters that included cryptograms, diagrams, and symbolic messages, he created a network of fear that transcended the immediate locations of his murders. Each publication of his letters served his goal to amplify his notoriety while maintaining anonymity. Law enforcement faced a unique challenge, as the Zodiac's cunning ensured that tangible leads were scarce and often contradictory. Investigators and amateur codebreakers pored over each cipher, analyzing patterns, frequency of symbols, and potential meanings. Some partial solutions revealed taunting messages, while others remained enigmatic. The 340-character cipher, in particular, highlighted his intelligence and the difficulty of apprehending him. The inability to fully decode this message added to the legend, ensuring that both public fascination and scholarly inquiry would endure for decades. The Zodiac's genius lay in balancing lethality with theatricality, combining murder with complex communication that confounded and terrified simultaneously. The victims' families endured immense suffering, grappling with loss while being thrust into the national spotlight. David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin, and Cecilia Ann Shepard, and Paul Stein. These names represented lives cut short, innocence destroyed, and futures stolen. Survivors like Michael Mageau and Brian Hartnell carried physical and psychological scars, their testimonies crucial for understanding the killer's behavior. By maintaining focus on these individuals, the story of the Zodiac remains anchored in reality, emphasizing the human cost behind the legend. By the mid-1970s, the Zodiac's attacks slowed, yet his correspondence persisted. Law enforcement remained vigilant, yet the killer's ability to remain at large perpetuated fear. The Zodiac's identity was never conclusively discovered, and his letters became historical artifacts, providing insight into the mind of a criminal who thrived on terror, attention, and intellectual challenge. His impact extended beyond the immediate scope of murder, influencing cultural narratives, media depictions, and the study of criminal psychology. The Zodiac's adaptability demonstrated his strategic intelligence. He could shift locations, modify tactics, and tailor attacks for maximum psychological impact. By targeting both secluded and urban environments, he maintained unpredictability. The confirmed victims' experiences revealed the consistent methodology, precision, control, and theatrical presentation, combined with a psychological manipulation embedded in his letters. The survivor accounts offer a window into his behavior, showing both brutality and calculated restraint. The Zodiac's legend is also intertwined with media interaction. Each letter he sent, each cipher published, and each cryptic threat reinforced his mythos. Journalists and editors, compelled by the demand for public safety and the killer's own instructions, became unwitting participants in amplifying his terror. The public consumed these letters with a mix of horror and fascination, ensuring that the Zodiac's influence extended far beyond his immediate crimes. As society evolved, the fascination with the Zodiac continued. True crime enthusiasts, historians, and psychologists studied his attacks, deciphered his codes, and debated his identity. The combination of confirmed murders, survivor accounts, cryptic communication, and the enduring mystery of his persona cemented the Zodiac Killer as a unique and terrifying figure in American history. His ability to evade capture while maintaining public engagement through letters and codes remains a benchmark in criminal investigation and forensic study. The impact of the Zodiac Killer continues to resonate. Each murder, each surviving witness, each cryptic letter contributes to a legacy of fear, mystery, and human tragedy. By understanding the confirmed victims David Faraday, Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin, Cecilia Ann Shepard, Paul Steinen, the survivors, Michael Mageau, and Brian Hartnell, the story maintains both authenticity and emotional resonance. Their experiences provide context, grounding the narrative in real human consequences amid the mythic terror. This part of the story demonstrates the depth of the Zodiac Killer's psychological, social, and cultural influence. From the early murders to the continued letters and ciphers, he exemplifies a criminal mind operating with calculated precision. Law enforcement's ongoing challenges, survivor testimonies, and public engagement reveal a multifaceted story of crime, strategy, and enduring fear. The confirmed victims' names remain central, ensuring that the human cost is never lost amid the legend. As the narrative continues, the audience gains a comprehensive understanding of the Zodiac Killer's methodology, psychological manipulation, and the social context in which he operated. The confirmed victims' experiences, survivor testimonies, letters, and ciphers highlight the intersection of fact and myth. This third part serves as a bridge to the final installment, which will explore the Zodiac's cultural impact, ongoing investigations, and theories about his identity, maintaining suspense and engagement until the story's conclusion.